Black women are the pot who cause the kettle metal more than any other appliance in the kitchen. They're statistically the lowest income group of women, yet the words broke are always coming out of their mouth when they're referring to men. What's going on, YouTube? In this dose, I'm reacting to a woman on TikTok breaking down broke men's love languages. So like, share, subscribe, turn on the notifications, share the content with your family, friends, colleagues, and peers so that they can ingest the Q pill as well. Let's get a dose of this shit. Now, before we react to it, let me just say, women, when it comes to relationship advice and their perceptions on what relationships should be, have the lowest IQ takes that man has ever seen. But no group of women has more low IQ takes than black women, who just so happen to be statistically the least desired, least married group of women with the highest rates of marriage instability and the highest likelihood of never being married. Yet they're always talking about what they want in dating or trying to give their opinions on dating as if they're psychologists who automatically know how things should be in relationships, and always are making analyses and assessments that are just so conjectural and just made up, pseudo-intellectual, arbitrary, that it makes your balls itch. And they say it with the utmost arrogance. I've never seen a group of women more arrogant in their ignorance when it comes to anything that they speak on than black women. Exhibit A. Let's react to the video.
Every broke man's love language is physical touch and words of affirmation.
Okay, see, let me stop her there. She already started off wrong. Every broke man. Now, we all know they're the main ones who hate generalizations. Not all women do that. Not all women do that. Anytime you say women and you're not even referring to all women, they say not all women do that. However, here she is saying every broke man's love language, meaning every single broke man that exists. You know what the issues are with that statement? Every, because she doesn't know every man, and broke, because we have no idea what constitutes being broke. Black women are the pot who cause the kettle metal more than any other appliance in the kitchen. They're statistically the lowest income group of women, yet the words broke are always coming out of their mouth when they're referring to men. And we know they're talking about black men because black men are predominantly who they date. So we know they're referring to black men anytime they say broke. But what does broke mean? What is the threshold for broke? 30,000 a year, single guy, 45,000 a year, married with kids. What's the threshold for broke? They just use these arbitrary terms, extremely vague, and they couldn't provide you with any degree of specificity if you asked them to.
It's not gifts because they can't afford it. It's not quality time, because I find that like broke men, they're split 50-50. There's broke men who...
It's not gifts because they can't afford it. What kind of gifts are we talking about? What kind of gifts are we talking about? Louis V bags, Gucci, Prada, Michael Kors, all these high-end products that these superficial ass women want to show off to the world to show that they have a man who can pay for it, who can buy it for them. First off, let me just point out that love languages are bullshit. And I hate the fact that it has become pop psych to the degree that it has, because now it's become a woman's love astrology. It's up there with emotional intelligence, emotional abuse, all of these subjective terms that can't be quantified or measured, and that you will find in no data, no research, no literature. Yet they use them as if these are scientific facts, as if these are valid and reliable scientific constructs that they can use to determine behaviors or make correlations to men about their behaviors. Where did she discover that it's 50-50? That the men who don't get gifts because they're broke, and the other half don't spend quality time because of what? When was this study conducted? How was this determined? And this is what I mean. They just make up shit. They say whatever comes off the top of their head, and they don't even think about what they're saying or how little sense it actually makes or how easily refutable and disprovable it actually is. This is some falsifiable shit. Love languages are bullshit because everyone likes what we call love languages. We all like acts of service. We all like words of affirmation. We all like gifts, and we all like physical touch. And if you can show me anywhere where they measure the emotional response in men's and women's brains to these different love languages, and we see heightened responses between the types of gifts that they receive in order to determine which love languages actually matter to people, then I will give love languages its credit, its validity as a scientific construct. But until that day, love languages are bullshit. But let's continue hearing what she has to say.
They are on a hamster wheel. You know, they constantly are working like a bunch of odd jobs or blue collar jobs or whatever. And
they're on a hamster wheel. They're constantly working a bunch of odd jobs or blue collar jobs or whatever. Are women not aware of how well a lot of blue collar jobs pay? No, they're not, because they're so concerned with dating white collar workers, because those are the career fields that gets publicity as being high earners. Lawyers, doctors, engineers, scientists. But a lot of blue collar workers are well paid and they make an honest living. And they're really skilled. They're really good at what they do. And a lot of them can afford the expensive gifts that she's saying broke men who work blue collar jobs can't afford, especially the financially responsible ones.
They're not really making much money, so they have to keep working just to make a living. So therefore they don't have time to spend with you. Or they're extremely lazy and they just want to spend all of their free time playing video games.
Or they're extremely lazy and they want to spend all their time playing video games. After they get off from work, after these extremely lazy guys get off from work, they are lazy. They want to spend time playing video games. Well, I mean, a lot of men who do work 12-hour shifts, when they want to come home, they want to decompress. I'm sure they want to have some ice cream, watch TV, and if they want to hop on Call of Duty or NBA 2K or whatever it else is they like to play, they can do that because that's a form of decompression for a lot of men. That in no way, shape, fashion, or form means that they don't want to spend quality time with their woman at some point or can't afford to buy her a gift. These are stupid ass correlations.
And it's not acts of service because typically broke men are broke because they are lazy and they're not hard workers. And if they're not hard workers and they want to do the bare minimum in life, they don't really want to perform an act of service.
Broke men don't really want to perform acts of service because they're lazy and they're not hard workers. Now, I'm just going to use the blue collar worker as an example here because she mentioned blue collar workers and other odd jobs. Are most blue collar jobs not acts of service? Because are blue collar jobs, most blue collar jobs, if not all, not acts of service? The fuck is this woman talking about, bro? What is she talking about? Lazy? How many hours do most blue collar workers work? Far from what we would call lazy hours. Most blue collar workers are some of the hardest working men around. Because many of their jobs require them to work 12-hour shifts. Because they're providing acts of service. They're the workers that uphold society's functionality. Cars are always breaking down. People are always having electrical issues. Weather. Fucking up vinyl and roofs on houses. The hell? Women are stupid. And we keep listening to the women who are a part of the group who is the least married, least desired, and have the highest rates of relationship dissatisfaction and marriage instability.
Would require way too much energy. Physical touch and words of affirmation are free, and it's very easy for them to provide you with those love languages. So if those are his two main love languages, it's highly likely that he's broke.
Physical touch and words of affirmation are free. So if those are his two love languages, then it's highly likely that he's broke. What we have here is a big-headed, weave-wearing, funny-face looking woman breaking down what most women would consider to be acts of substance, physical touch, and words of affirmation, which is highly indicative of the man's emotional investment in the woman beyond the acts of service and beyond the gift giving. Do y'all not understand this woman is simply just superficial, as are most black women? They're just superficial. They have no depth. They're all about monetary shit. They're all about what they can wear, what they can show off to the world, what they can post on Instagram. Not about the actual relationship, which is what words of affirmation and physical touch actually speaks to. And as men, well, what do we know about men? We're highly sexual creatures. What do we value most when it comes to our women? Physical touch, because we have sex drives. Higher sex drives than women on average. And that's how most of us connect with our women. So physical touch and affection is extremely important to us. So just maybe it's not the fact that we're actually broke. Maybe it's the fact that we look at our woman and see that she's fine as hell and we want to fuck her. Maybe it's the fact that we like kissing on our woman. We like grabbing her ass. We like playing with her titties. That has nothing to do with being broke. That's called being aroused by visual stimuli, like most male brains are. If you look at our nucleus accumbens on fMRI scans and the level of activity that you can gauge from us seeing a woman that we're attracted to and how it compels us to want to engage in physical touching and affection and fucking, well, that's typically a normal response that you're going to get from a man. Gift giving and acts of service are usually strictly for the woman. That wouldn't be most men's love language anyway. That if we do that, it's because the woman values it. Not necessarily because that's our love language. So that in no way alludes to the fact that we're broke. And this is the type of stuff they'll say. They'll turn around and complain about men who try to buy them. And then you have women like this who will complain that the men who actually want to be able to relate emotionally and in intimate ways, words of affirmation and physical touch, are doing it because they're broke, because they can't afford an act of service or a gift from their blue collar job or odd career that they work, where they actually work 12 hours, sometimes even 16, and make good money doing it. Many make over $100,000 a year. And they don't want to date a superficial woman to where out of that $100,000 a year, they want to take her to Gucci and Louis V and buy her a bag so that she can feel like her man has money. And we see why this is the least married group of women. We see why this is the least desired group of women. And she thinks it's funny. Look at the smile on her face. Look at the smirk on her face. She has that antagonistic smile that a lot of black women have when they insult you and they disrespect you and they emasculate you and they degrade you. And they want to get a reaction out of you. They have that little smirk on their face. As long as these women continue to be this way and they continue to have fucked up attitudes and perspectives like hers, these women will remain the least married group of women. And the women who are affected by our culture, who also take on this attitude and this perception about how men operate. Because, as I said, love languages, for one, is bullshit. Love languages is not real. We all like gifts given to us by somebody that we love. We all like words of affirmation spoken to us by the ones we love. We all like acts of service provided to us by the ones we love. And we all like the physical touch of the one that we're in love with. There's no disparity in the amount of weight that one love language holds relative to another. But these women just say things like this because they're either really stupid or they really, really want to go viral. And I think it's a combination of both. And it's exponentially more prevalent in Black American culture than anywhere else, which is why the state of our relationships in the Black community is a cesspool of degeneracy, disrespect, emasculation, and conflict. I'll catch you guys on the next dosage of Q-Pill. Over and out.